Okay, today we're going to be talking about using a template in Photoshop Elements. I'm using Photoshop Elements 11, but this would work pretty similarly in most versions of Photoshop Elements. So I love templates. I use templates a lot in most of my layouts. I love creating them, but I also love using them to get me started on a layout. And I'm going to show you just how easy it is to use one. So first we're going to start by opening up. We can go to File, Open, and I have a folder here. We're going to open this up and just quickly click Keep Layers because we don't want to lose the layers of the template. See, as you notice, we've got all these layers here. So we're going to start, I always start at the bottom, background layer, and we're going to go File, Place. This is my favorite way to pull in anything. I used for a long time when I digital scrapbooked, I would open it and then I would copy and paste it over or slide it over, but the place feature is fantastic. So we're going to go to my paper file, click this green one, and there you go. And then you just click the check mark to accept it. And we're good to go. As you can see, we still have the original layer under it, and we have the paper on top of it. Okay, the next thing, we're going to come to this blue thing here, which if I click it off, you can see is kind of this one in the middle. Okay, and we're going to use the place feature again, File, Place. This time let's add a striped one to it. Click the check mark to accept it. And then, well, you can see the paper strip template piece is underneath it. The striped paper is on top, and we just go up to Layer, Create Clipping Mask. And it clips that paper to it. Now you could merge those together. I suggest leaving it just in case you want to change any of the shadowing or anything later on. Just always remember that you want to apply shadows and change shadows to the original piece, not the paper that it's clipped to. So don't try to add a shadow to the paper. It's not going to work. You handle it from this paper underneath. And because the template, I always include shadows with my template that can be turned off or changed, but at least it gives you a starting point. Okay, so now we're going to do one more paper just to kind of practice, and we'll do a plain one. We'll do white here. Click the check mark and then Layer, Create Clipping Mask, and there you go. Now you could do the same for all of these with the papers. When it comes to a photo, okay, so we know where the photo is. It's this little box right here, this little image right here. So now same thing, File, Place, go to a folder. I'll just grab when I was working this folder earlier of my son. Just grab that one. Okay, now as you can see, it's much bigger than I'm going to want it to be. So I just shift and move this in. Click the check mark, and then get my move tool. Oh. Whoops, do undo move. Need to make sure, click off the auto select layer so that it doesn't take whatever I touch. And we're going to want this just a little smaller again. Okay, click to accept, and then Layer, Create Clipping Mask. And because it hasn't been attached to it, I can still move it around. And I could even still make it smaller if I wanted. And move it up. Okay, so moving up, here there's the stitching layer. And there's a lot of stitching that's on here. With this, you could leave it. It's just paint, so it does look like stitching. But in your kit that you're working with, you might actually have more realistic looking stitching. So let's try that. Let's go to the element folder and see what stitching is in this kit. And maybe I didn't put stitching in this kit. I didn't. I try to always put stitching, but I don't always, so obviously this one does not have it. So in this case, you could leave it, or you could just drag it to the trash can, or pull it from another element pack, just depending on what you want. On the leaves, here these are just placeholders. So we're just going to pull in some leaves from the kit and basically place them where these are here. Maybe make it a little smaller. Drag it up, and then to duplicate it, if I want to use the same one, I can just click Alt or Option and drag. Okay, now that I've got my leaves in place, I can just delete the leaves layer. Now as you can see that the leaves don't have a shadow on them, and we'll get into shadowing later, but you would want to add your own shadow. So when you're dealing with a template, it's clipping papers and photos to things, but then it's also, there are pieces in place that you can put your own element from the kit in. It just kind of is our little placeholders to give you ideas of what to do. You can even, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just clip the papers in place, and then I'll take all of the top stuff and just delete them, so that then I can add my own things in that I want. Very versatile, very easy to use, and yeah, just a really great way to get started on a layout. So hopefully that helps and gives you a few tips, and can't wait to see what you do with it.